You're standing in front of the power strip, staring at a stack of servers, a workstation, maybe a home lab, and wondering if you really need to drop a couple $100 on a UPS that might never get used. It's that uneasy feeling when you're about to spend money on something that could sit idle, or worse, give you a false sense of protection and leave you scrambling when the lights go out. I get it, I've been there, juggling budgets and trying not to over-engineer a setup that only needs a little safety net. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. So let's talk about the APC Network UPS, 2000 VA Smart UPS, with the extended run option, and see if it actually earns a spot in your rack or under your desk. First off, the biggest question most people ask is, do I really need a 2000 VA unit? For a small office with a few workstations, a network switch and maybe a NAS, a 500 VA to 1000 VA model usually covers the brief outage window you care about, just enough time to save files and shut down cleanly. The 2000 VA rating jumps you into the territory where you can keep multiple servers or a high-performance workstation running for a longer stretch, especially with the optional extended run battery. If you run a home lab with a couple of virtualization hosts, a UPS that can sustain 1800W for even 10 minutes can be the difference between a graceful shutdown and a corrupted VM. That's where the value of this particular APC model starts to surface. What makes this UPS stand out is the pure sine wave output. Many entry-level UPSs use a stepped approximation of a sine wave, which is fine for simple devices, but can cause issues with power-sensitive equipment like certain network cards, audio interfaces, or high-end CPUs with aggressive power management. The sine wave here means you won't get those occasional hiccups where a server's power supply complains, or a UPS alarm beeps constantly because it's trying to smooth the waveform. In real-world terms, I've seen small businesses run their VoIP phones and video conferencing gear off a pure sine wave UPS, and notice zero glitches even when the mains flicker. Another practical benefit is the network management card that comes pre-installed. Instead of having to buy an external module and wrestle with compatibility, this unit talks to your monitoring software right out of the box. You can pull up its status in a web browser, set email alerts for low battery, or integrate it into an SNMP-based monitoring dashboard. For a server admin who already has a monitoring suite, that's a time saver. You get a clear picture of battery health, load percentage, and runtime estimates without having to run a separate utility on each machine. If you're the type who likes to keep an eye on everything from a single pane of glass, this is a solid convenience. Now, let's be honest about the trade-offs. The first thing you'll notice when you pull this out of the box is the size. It's a 2U rack mount unit, and while the package includes a rail kit, it's not something you'll want to toss on a desktop desk. You need a proper rack, or at least a sturdy shelf that can bear the weight. It's heavier than your average consumer UPS. If you're a home user with only a few devices on a table, you'll probably find the form factor cumbersome. Also, the extended run option, while attractive on paper, means you have to buy an additional battery pack and swap it in when you need that extra juice. The base unit's battery will give you roughly 5 to 8 minutes at half load. The extra pack can push that to 15 minutes or more, but you're paying extra for the battery and dealing with the physical swap. If you don't have a clear need for that extended window, you might be spending money you'll never use. Another point that pops up in actual deployment scenarios is the audible alarm. The APC units are known for a fairly loud beeping when the battery is low or when there's a fault. In a quiet office or a home studio, that sound can be a nuisance. It's not a defect, just something to be aware of if you plan to keep the UPS running 24/7 in a low-noise environment. The alarm can be muted, but you'll need to go into the management interface and turn it off, which adds a step to the setup process. So, who should consider buying this APC Smart UPS? If you're a small to medium business that runs a few critical servers, network switches, or storage arrays and you can afford a dedicated rack, this unit checks a lot of boxes. The pure sine wave output protects sensitive hardware, the network card gives you remote monitoring without extra hardware, and the ability to add an extended run battery means you can tailor the runtime to your specific needs. It also works well for a home lab enthusiast who's already invested in a rack and wants the peace of mind that their virtual machines won't corrupt.